So hi everyone, welcome to our third and final video session on Menstruation Celebration. We are really excited to be presenting, and we have Terry with us this time, so I'm really excited to have an audience member. So again, this is Kourtney Ryder from the Hamilton Health Center's HOPE program. She's going to be teaching us about personal values today. I'm really excited. If you didn't catch our last two videos, they are also on our channel for the 4 phases, which was last week, and then the products, which was the week prior. Yeah, that's all I have, I guess, for right now. So go ahead, Kourtney, and take it away.
Great, thanks, Lizzie. I'm really excited to finish out Menstrual Hygiene Month, which is the month of May. Today is actually Menstrual Hygiene Day, May 28th. Very exciting day to recognize and appreciate what bodies do, and just getting that education and knowledge out into the world because it is so widespread. I mean, half the people on the planet are menstruating at any given time. So it's really important to know how that impacts our body, what products we can use to manage it. And now I wanted to get into, for our last session, going over personal boundaries, the things that we can do as young people as we grow older to actually establish our personal identity, give ourselves a little more oomph in life, and take care of ourselves. So thank you. If you are able, please go ahead and grab a notebook. We're going to be doing a little more activities today, a little self-reflection. Plus, if you want to take any notes of what we're doing, that's always a great idea. So don't be shy. So grab a notebook so that we can get started. I wanted to start by talking about the 7 types of wellness. Wellness has 7 dimensions. These are defined as our, the things that make us a whole human, the things that all need to work together and have some sort of balance and equilibrium to help us feel at our best. So we can be well physically, intellectually, emotionally, socially, spiritually, occupationally, and environmentally. So of course we know to take care of our bodies, right? It has many parts moving at all the different times. Our internal bodily systems, as well as our outward bodily appearance. Taking care of ourselves is really important. It's also important to take care of our minds and our moods and our emotions, as well as nurturing really good friendships, social relationships with people that we love and care about. Spiritual wellness is very personal. People can define this however they like. For some people, that might be religious or church involvement. For others, it might be a different type of spirituality. Some people might enjoy nature or connecting with their spirit in a different way. And then occupational refers to our work. So it's very important that we do work that we enjoy. I love my job. I love being here and being able to speak with folks and give you a little bit more education and resources and tools to keep in your toolbox at all times to help you be the best person that you can be. And then environmental wellness is, of course, how we care for our environment. That can be anything from your room, your desk, your purse, keeping things orderly and safe, as well as, grandmother Earth, keeping the environment well. So just like wellness has all these different spots and all these different types, so do boundaries. Boundaries have multiple dimensions, and we need to practice wellness in each of these dimensions. A lot of times these things will be influenced by others. Most of the time our life is not just me, myself, and I. We're influenced by other people all of the time. And this would be called interpersonal relationships, the types of conversations you have between other people and the bonds and relationships you build with them. So we will talk about how to use boundaries to enhance those relationships. So we need to define what boundaries are, first of all. The Webster Dictionary defines boundaries as a line that marks the limit of an area. This might ring a bell like a property no trespassing sign. It might be something that we think of as a physical line. You cannot cross here. But boundaries, when we talk about things like emotions and mood, might actually look a little bit different. They might not be so easily seen by others. So we have to take those steps to make them seen for others. I also want you to know the word autonomy. This is defined as the right or condition of self-government. Pretty much autonomy means you have the right to choose what's best for you, and you're allowed to make that choice on your own. Self-care is the practice of taking action to preserve or improve one's own health. This is the things that we do every day, hopefully, to take care of ourselves, from the basics to all the little extras that we can be doing, and we'll go over some self-care activities in a few moments. Again, we talked about all the different dimensions of wellness, so there's different types of boundaries. Overlap is okay, that will happen whenever we're talking about this, but I wanted to define them a little bit deeper for you when it comes to boundaries. So physical boundaries will be things like your privacy, your personal space. How far away do you actually want people to stand from you in a conversation? Do you want a little more distance so you can have that conversation? Especially now, in times of COVID, we're practicing social distancing. So some people like that distance all the time. They're a little uncomfortable, come too close, it feels like an invasion. Intellectual would include us respecting our own thoughts and ideas, but also the thoughts and ideas of other people when we're having a conversation. Emotional boundaries include what to share, with who, and when. So whatever you're going through internally in your heart, in your mind, who do you share that with? Who do you trust to share that with? When is it appropriate? What kind of people is it safe to share that with? There are sexual boundaries. This is, of course, where we want to get into talking about consent, which is incredibly important for all humans. We deserve to be touched when we want to be and not to be touched when we don't want to be. So if you're having unwanted touch, this can also include your desires and limitations. So defining what do you want in that realm of life and what do you not want in that realm of your life. And this might evolve as you get older. I guarantee that most of these will evolve as you get older, and as you meet new people and create new relationships, you might have to change your boundaries as well. Material boundaries will be things like protecting your money and your possessions. If you lend someone something, do you expect it back? If you pay for someone's coffee, do you expect them to pay you back? So protecting your possessions. And then time. How much time are you physically giving? And then how much energy you're using. So you're allowed to make these decisions. So we might think of things like unwanted touch that could fall into like physical and sexual, right? That might fit in both categories. Material things, or like if someone went through your purse or your backpack, maybe without asking, that could cover physical and material. So it's an item of yours, but it's also my privacy. And then emotional and intellectual might overlap with each other. If you're someone who feels really heavily influenced by the moods of your friends or the moods of your family members, this can be where your emotions and your mind kind of go hand in hand. You get to define your boundaries, and other people get to define their boundaries. It's up to us to express them in a healthy way and respect other people. Why do we need them? Why do we need boundaries in life? Well, like I mentioned in the beginning, it's really important aspect of defining your identity, establishing who you are and what you want and what you're working towards. It also can help establish confidence, self-esteem. Boundaries certainly also help keep you safe. That's one of our main things. Safety is always, always, always first. You always want to be able to keep yourself safe as much as you can. We also use boundaries to help us provide order and reduce chaos in our lives, using that time and energy thought. Where do we want to spend time? Where do we feel like our time is well spent? And what do we enjoy? Boundaries can also help you pursue your goals by saying, no, I'm going to hold this boundary with this person or hold this boundary with myself. Helps you pursue your goals. If you want to graduate high school and go to college and get a job or get married and have children, if those are things that you really want to pursue, using boundaries to get yourself there can be definitely a part of the stepping stones. Boundaries also help protect you from people who might violate you, people who might try to take advantage of you. They might try to use your money more than you would like. They might go through your things more than you like. Sometimes things can only happen, or we only learn a boundary when it's crossed. And that can cause some tension or some stress for us inside. But that's okay. That's how we learn. And as we practice boundaries, we can get better at that and have relationships with people who won't do that to us. Boundaries also help you communicate your needs to others and set healthy limits. The reason the boundaries are so hard is because we fear a lot of things when we set them. Whenever we have to say to someone, hey, I don't really like you going through my backpack without my permission, it's hard because that feels like confrontation. It feels like we're trying to stir something up. where someone who might respect your boundaries might not come at you that way. So boundaries are hard because we fear the rejection, the confrontation, might feel guilty for saying something like that to someone, or it's simply just not modeled for us when we're young. And that's okay too, because we're all human, we're all learning. So if you are watching this, I appreciate you taking time to learn about boundaries for yourself. We're going to do just a really short activity. This is really easy to do. If you don't have the time to do it right now, that's fine. Take a picture with your phone. That's great. These are some beliefs that I'm going to read through them for you actually, and then you just want to give yourself a rating of A, B, or C. A means you believe it's true about yourself. B means I fall in the middle. I don't really know. It's neither here nor there. And C means that's not true. I don't believe that. So the first one would be, I accept and befriend myself. Is that true? Is that not true? Or somewhere in the middle? I am both valuable and imperfect. I am in a lifelong process of growth. Boundaries are necessary and appropriate. My value is no more or less than anyone else's. Setting limits helps keep relationships healthy. And lastly, I am able to face challenges and meet problems. So this is kind of a good way to gauge where you fall, what you believe about yourself, where is your power being held, right? So if you rate yourself, a lot of C's today, maybe in a few months when we talk about how you can help take care of yourself, maybe in a few months or a few weeks, you can come back to this and give yourself a brand new rating. That would be a great exercise to try. So there are 4 easy steps to setting boundaries. The first step is self-awareness. In order to practice self-awareness, we have to spend time with ourselves. We have to know who we are, what we like and what we don't like, and be aware of our emotions and our feelings and what's happening in our body and in our brain and in our heart all the time. It's really important to be self-aware by practicing self-care, which we will go to next. The second step is to identify your emotions. Then you'll set your boundaries, and then lastly, follow through. So this image here, I just wanted to show you self-care on the left is at the bottom of this pyramid, right? Self-care is the foundation of wellness, foundation of well-being. We all know that we're supposed to take good care of ourselves. We're all taught, eat right, exercise, drink water, get enough sleep. We know that those things are important, but those are very basic. Those are just taking care of our bodies. Self-care can include the emotional aspects, the intellectual aspects, the social aspects that we talked about in the beginning. And they're pretty cost effective. It's pretty cheap to hang out with a friend and talk. That's free. It's pretty cheap to take a walk in nature if it's available to you. And if you don't need transportation, there might be a small cost. But overall, this image is depicting that self-care, when we practice it, pretty low cost. And the things that we avoid or neglect or don't do long term might lead us into other health issues. Those things eventually will cost us more money in the long run. So if we take care of ourselves now, it saves money later. Self-care is typically inexpensive, and when we know better, we can do better. So here's some great self-care ideas. I took this image from an account on Instagram called Blessing Manifesting. And of course, sleep I put on here as one that's really important as a foundation. Sometimes when people don't sleep, they're cranky, and that's okay. That's normal. The body needs what it needs. So while sleep is a very basic, bottom level kind of need, we all need sleep. Making sure that you're getting enough of it is really important. So I suggest 7 to 9 hours of sleep if possible. And this will change throughout your life. And as you go through different phases, it will change. Other things to consider would be joyful movement. This is anything with the body being active that you like. Some people consider running to be joyful. I don't. I don't like to run. I would consider joyful movement for me something like yoga or dancing or stretching. So just find what brings you joy using your body. Again, you can journal or use affirmations. Affirmations are statements that you pick out that say good things to yourself, or you can journal them down. You can journal your thoughts, your happy ones, your not so happy ones. Journaling them can get them out of the head so that they don't sit in here all day. Breathing exercises, you can find so many breathing exercises on YouTube, on Instagram, social media. Practice those. You can also reach out to your support systems. Identify the people in your life who you trust. Identify the people in your life who you know they have your back and you know that they'll treat you really well. Identify who they are and make sure you keep their number on speed dial. You can also follow positive social media accounts. I know social media is social, but I know a lot of us tend to see things that we might compare our lives to other people. And I don't want us to fall into that trap of thinking that we don't have what we want or their life looks better than mine. So try to follow things that make you feel good or encourage you to do the right thing or encourage you to take better care of yourself. I will give you some options at the end of this lesson for accounts to follow. Try creative hobbies. What can you create? That's art, crafts, cooking, jewelry, whatever you can create, that can be a really joyful moment. Keep your space tidy and clean. This goes back to the environmental piece of that wellness wheel we looked at. Keeping your space tidy, your room, your desk, your locker, whatever space you rule, keeping it in an orderly fashion so that it's easy for you, less stress, can really help take care of your mind and body. Spend time outside if you're able to. Some people also like to pray or meditate depending on your spiritual needs. You can find prayers and meditations online as well. And then, of course, the whole reason we're here is to help you understand how to communicate and set those boundaries. Very important aspect of self-care. If this seems like a lot, these aren't things you must be doing all the time. Take what applies to you, take what you like off of this list, and leave the rest. Because we have to be self-aware and then we have to identify our emotions, it's a really good idea to understand how many emotions there are. Does anybody want to take a guess at how many emotions humans can experience? Okay, there's certainly more than I can fit on this wheel, all right? It's estimated that
like about 50 maybe?
50, that's a good guess. It's estimated that the humans all of us are very complex, right? We're all very special and unique. There are about 34,000 different emotions that we can experience.
I was a little off.
Just a hair. 1,000 is close. So, of course, emotions are ever changing. You're not going to be happy all the time. You're not going to be sad all the time. I know sometimes you might feel like that, but they're not good or bad things. They just are messages. They're like little text messages to the body, like, oh, I'm feeling something. It's really good to recognize what happens in the body, recognize what you're feeling, understand it. Maybe using a wheel, an emotion wheel like this, can help you point, okay, I'm in the middle of the circle or I'm on the outside of this circle. And then accept whatever feeling you're having. Probably the most challenging part of identifying our emotions is to accept, especially the times that we're less than happy or when things don't go the way we planned. So if you look at this wheel, if we look at the green petals, let's say, of this flower, and we see the word fear, if you feel fear, on the smaller end or the less intense end of that would be apprehension or nervousness. So you might feel nervous to talk to someone, or you might feel nervous to give a presentation. When it moves to more intensity, it would be considered fear. And then if it gets even more intense than that, that is terror. So there's lots of different levels of emotions. That's why we experience so many. So I would encourage you not to assign a lot of meaning to what you're feeling. Just recognize it. I'm angry. I'm upset. I'm sad. I'm happy. Just try to recognize it, find the word you're feeling, and accept that that's what's happening for you right now. This is another great way to become more self-aware. I call this our functioning rainbow. I did take this from lindsaybrahman.com, and she created this image to help us kind of understand where our safety zone is. So our safety zone emotionally is in the rainbow. We want to be in the rainbow, feel the rainbow. And whenever it gets a little bit too much for us, we end up at one of these two clouds. These are called the stress clouds. So it's important to recognize when you start to get upset. So on the left-hand side, we have the downer distress, which is where we shut down. We don't want to talk. We want to hide in our room. We might breathe slower. We might not have anything to say, don't really care. That's a sign that we're withdrawing emotionally, and we need to be careful. We need to get back into those self-care activities, realize what's going on so that we can feel a little bit better. On the other end, the angry cloud, that would be somebody who's feeling a lot more anxious, feeling really hyper and like, I need to figure this out right now. You might start to speak really quickly, like if you're freaking out, let's say, like on a friend, or in your home, you might start to word vomit on people because you're frustrated and you need to get it out. This would be, extreme emotions can lead to panic attacks. We might hyperventilate, and this can be really, really challenging. So if you start to feel like you're going towards those clouds, that's when it's time to really take care of ourselves in a way that we need. So to set boundaries, we need to be simple and direct. We need to focus on our needs, not their behavior. We should repeat our boundary if someone is resisting it, if someone is not listening to what you need, it's okay to repeat, and then we follow through. So for example, let's say somebody's yelling at you about something. You can make up your own scenario in your head. State what you need in a clear, calm, respectful way. If someone's yelling at you, you might say, I need this conversation to happen without yelling. If that can't happen, I need to take a break. So you focus on I, and I need, and I will do this. You don't want to say, stop yelling at me. You always yell at me. You need to stop yelling. We say, I need this conversation to be done without yelling. And if not, I will take a break. So you hold the power, and you need to communicate that to someone, that this is what you need. It's not because of them, but there is a way for you to protect yourself. Some other activities to try, you can look these up, but I think that they might be pretty self-explanatory. So you could write a personal mission statement. This would be doing a sentences, maybe a paragraph, just writing a mission statement. If you've ever seen a mission statement, most companies have mission statements, most organizations, schools. Usually it says, this is the reason we're here. This is the reason why we do what we do. So what's your personal mission statement? Who are you? What do you want out of life? What do you believe about life? What would you like to achieve? You can write that all down and reread it to yourself. This is where journaling could come in. You could also try writing just 2 promises to yourself. I promise myself to blank. I promise to journal once a week. I promise to set boundaries with people. Make 2 promises to yourself. That can be a really good reflective exercise. You could also write down things like, people may not blank. People may not yell at me. People may not touch me when I don't want to be. You could also write things like, I have the right blank. I have the right to privacy. I have the right to say no. You can also write down sentences beginning with, to protect my well-being, it is okay to blank. To protect my well-being, it is okay to say no. To protect my well-being, it is okay to blank. So give those a try. And I just want to remind everyone that no is a complete sentence. This is where I want to really mention consent, and that if anything has happened to you in the past that was not what you wanted, there are resources available for you in your local community. And please respect when other people tell you no. It's very important to know that it's always a two-way street. To finish up, here are those positive Instagram accounts for you to follow. I found just a handful of accounts that share pictures like I did with the self-care. They're bright, they're fun, they're easy to look at. You can screenshot them on your phone. Use social media for positive influence on your life. Use it to learn. Use it to discover more things about things you like. It's a great idea to follow even just one of these accounts because they focus on self-care or mental health or boundaries. So of course, there's a few here: the mental health advocates, brain body doc, millennial therapist, positively present, and blessing manifesting. That's where some of my images have come from. There's also a safe place inside your head. They talk a lot about mental health and mental wellness. And then the Trevor Project, which is specifically for those of you who are part of the LGBTQ community and are struggling with how to either identify your sexuality or to identify your gender identity. So please don't be afraid to follow the Trevor Project. They do a lot of great work. I just want to make sure we're all aware that these accounts and using social media to learn is absolutely not a replacement for professional care. So if you're struggling with feeling down all the time, or if you're struggling with feeling angry all the time, it's okay to seek help for that. Go to your support system, go to that person you found that you trust. Maybe it's a friend, a parent, a teacher, a coach. Please ask for help. It is okay. But these accounts and the great things they share are certainly not a replacement for professional support and care. And as usual, always choose what's best for you, period. Any questions?
Yay, awesome. That was, I don't want to cut the question time short, but that was awesome. Kourtney, thank you so much. That was very educational. I loved it. Yeah,
What
34,000
self-care are you going to implement?
Yeah.
What do you do for self-care?
Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're so welcome.
Well, I need to start exercising more.
Okay.
So I would like to do, that's a goal of mine, but currently, like to relax, I like reading.
Great.
And getting out in nature, you know, like doing walks and stuff like that. I never really could get into the, you know, journaling and stuff like that much. But I always thought it was a neat idea, and I know a lot of people who do like that.
Yeah, I actually just learned about verbal journaling for the first time, which was something I had never heard about. I like writing with my hand, so it doesn't feel badly to me to do that. But I was suggested to try verbal journaling, which is just where you take like your cell phone recorder and just blab, just dump it. Because I know I do that in my head a lot. I'm a little stressed about something, and it's, oh, I got to do this and this and this and this, and I go through my head. And someone said, well, you can say that out loud, just record it, and then you kind of have a verbal journal. So if that's a little more time sensitive, then that's a great idea.
Then does that mean you go back and listen to it later?
If you want, you certainly can.
Oh, okay. I never thought about that.
Yeah. I kind of do that. I mean, I don't record it, but I kind of do that on my drive to work. I'm like, and this. Then I get to work and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, re-listening to them or rereading a journal would certainly help you identify themes. If you're feeling something really regularly, it might help point that out to you and say, oh, I struggle with being stressed out. I struggle with being angry. I struggle with being sad and hurt. And it might help us identify where we need more support and more love and care from the people who love and care for us.
That makes sense.
All right. Just for the recording's sake, I'm going to just throw out that if you have any questions, anybody who's watching this on YouTube has any questions or anything they want to reach, I mean, even you, Terry, but I will stop the recording and we can have a discussion if you want. I will have Sam, she's the one that does the editing of these videos, put in my email and Kourtney's email at the end in case you want to reach out, have any questions about anything that we've touched on or, Kourtney's touched on in these last few weeks, any resources you'd like to either to share or to receive from us. Feel free to do that. And hopefully we will be having, not hopefully, we will be, I just don't know when, another one of these or something similar I don't know when, soon, soon-ish, but we will be having them. So thank you, everyone, and thank you, Kourtney. And yeah.